Welcome to another video in your blog, My World Andino. I want to first apologize for my absences, and I don't want to get into many details, but it has to do with my health. Now that I'm doing a little bit better or feeling better, I can start creating content again. So thank you so much for those who will watch this video and my future videos. In my last video, I said I would create content providing my claim that Nazis were not destroyed, as we have been told by media many times throughout 60 years or 6 decades. How Nazis close to Hitler were given important positions in organizations such as NATO. This goes against everything we were taught in school and the narrative followed by Hollywood movies, right? We all remember how American army hates the Nazis and does everything to destroy them, taking away that credit from Russia. I mean, Russia lost 23 million people fighting the Nazis, only for the US to arrive late and take as many soldiers, captains, generals back to the US in comfy positions in very important organizations. Continuing with the theory that there are no Nazis left, the Western governments are trying to convince the rest of the world that Russia's president is simply attacking Ukraine for power gain only. President Zelensky would never support the Nazis. After all, his father fought against them. Zelensky and his father are both Jewish, right? I mean, have you ever noticed or met a Latin American person that hates Latinos, strongly dislikes them? If you don't like to hear or use the word hate. We all met someone, like whatever your culture or your country background may be, we have all met someone who feels superior. Okay, so let's continue, right? So we have all met someone. The fact that Zelensky and his father are both Jewish and his father fought against the Nazis, it doesn't mean anything. Nowadays, many people choose because of greed or just because it grows in them to go against their own families. And why I'm saying this? Because we have seen Zelensky award members of the Azov battalion, a Nazi group. We also have proof that Ukraine and the United States are the only two countries that consistently have voted against a resolution to make the glorification of the Nazis illegal. They are saying that this proposal that Russia brought to the UN, it's too intense. The Nazis have the right. When Trump was president, this motorcycle group, part of the white power movement, which is the same as Nazis, right? They said, "Oh, how can Trump be part of this? How can Trump feel good having these people support him?" Well, I think that by the U.S., a country that claims to have eliminated all the Nazis and that the Nazis would never get position that could change or could direct the world. No, they're allowed to express themselves. Then that can take us to, so criminals can get together or planning to rob a bank, maybe to go kidnap someone, because that is what those groups do, right? The Nazis, either they gather themselves to kidnap someone and then eliminate those people. I mean, tell me, am I going too far with this analogy? Because to me, that's what it feels. Every time that Russia has brought this idea to the table, or to make it illegal, the glorification of Nazi groups, the U.S., Canada, and Ukraine have voted against it. The U.S. can veto ideas, any proposals, and then we have the countries that always do what the U.S. want. If they don't fully support it, sometimes they abstain themselves from voting, and that's what they did. December 2021 was the last vote. That was the last time that they voted for that proposal. Such information is not dominant. Never, if talked about it, they give it almost no relevance. It's like a quick sweep and let's move on to something else. The listener, the viewer, will quickly forget. The nation that says that eliminated all the Nazis is not willing to support a proposal against the glorification of such group. Heard of a Jewish person that lost a loved one during the world wars to take a stand against a law that could help prevent a second Holocaust. Never heard of that, my friends. So it's very surprising to me. They're saying how Ukraine, with all the help, with all the military help that they have received from NATO, could easily defeat most of the NATO countries, except for the US and Turkey. Only two nations that the US has provided to them. So it's not like a weak nation because of the size of the nation. Ukraine, it's one of the biggest nations in Europe, or the biggest. Ready to read on the subject of the Nazis. Double check my information with experts in the international politics and found out that Werner von Braun, someone who was very close to Hitler, became director of NASA. Happened with the Nazis are all destroyed. During the war, he was a mechanical aerospace engineer for Hitler. Werner von Braun is considered one of the best rocket designers of the 20th century. He designed the V-2 rocket, one of the first remote control rockets. Have you heard of the Saturn V rocket? The one that took the first US astronaut to the moon? Many people say, it's fantastic that his life was saved. The US couldn't have made it to the moon. But then, again, someone else could have done it, right? The Russians. Always one country that would do it. There's always one person. It's not like we have to save criminals for something great to happen in humanity. Von Braun, A3, A4, and V2 were mass-produced using prisoners from concentration camps. He was in charge of the production. Over 20,000 people died. Braun has only admitted to having visited the campgrounds. Just remember, he was in charge of the project called BS. Of other prisoners died due to the missiles created Werner Braun. Another Nazi very close to Hitler, Walter Holstein. This guy created Holstein doctrine. He was born back in 1901 and died in 1982. It sounds a long time ago, but not really. He was the first president of the European Commission, same position as Ursula von der Leyen at the moment. So the European Commission became the European Union. Now you know. If you didn't know, so helps understand This is my thinking after knowing this information. It helps me understand why NATO is expanding with thousands of bases worldwide. The Nazis' ideology is one government ruling all the nations and races on earth. And that's what we see in NATO. The Nazis, their ideology still alive, a little bit softer. Let's think about it. How NATO goes from country to country all around the world, trying to say, bring democracy to this country. Let's bring democracy to this other country and to this country and to this country. Assimilation, my friends. Everybody has to act like the country that saved the Nazis. Isn't that what Hitler wanted? One other thing, Holstein and the doctrine he created. During the period of the two Germanys, the Cold War, Holstein had the position of first federal chancellor and was also a member of the Nazi artillery division, Wehrmacht, right? The Holstein doctrine did not allow any nation that recognized East Germany, did not allow them to have any organizations that would connect them with the rest of the nations. It was pretty much isolated. For example, Cuba, for example, North Korea, they were sanctioned. This idea of sanctions is not new, at least since 1948. Another Nazi close to Hitler, Adolf Husinger, started as a volunteer. Once he became a soldier, a full soldier, because first he was just volunteering, and then he's like, well, I like it. I like putting my knee on people's necks. I like beating people up. I feel powerful. So he became a full soldier. He continued in Weimar Republic, later in Nazi Germany, Central Germany during the Cold War. Germany was divided between Allied nations and the Germany that was occupied by Russia. Russia defeated Nazis, or Hitler had to occupy a certain percentage of Germany, trying to control the Nazis from gathering themselves and trying to attack Russia again, which is the same idea that will happen now in Ukraine. So Adolf Husinger, and so from 1938 to 1944, Adolf Husinger, he reached the highest level that you can reach in an army, Germany's military. He was named High Command in the Nazi Armed Forces. He was also named Acting Chief of Staff for 2 weeks in 1944. Someone stepped down and he played Chief of Staff for 2 weeks back in 1944. After the war, he was named Chairman of the Military Committee of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So NATO, right? How can NATO behave any other way than the way Hitler behaved? We have people running this organization with the same ideology, with that ideology of the Nazis, to conquer, to have everyone assimilate a certain behavior. There's no such thing as be who you want to be, live your life the way you see it best. Did Hitler do that? Did that ideology? No, right? So we have been told that many Nazis' lives were saved because they ran off to Argentina or to Brazil. Oh, many of these Nazis were saved by a nation that says we defeated them. Oh, you know when they say to the French, you would be speaking German if it weren't for us, the world would be talking Dutch. If Russia would not have given their their life for the rest of us. There are many more Nazis who were awarded. Werner von Braun became director of NASA, and Walter Holstein, the first president of the European Commission. The last Nazi I talked to you about was Adolf Hitler. This man was very close to Adolf Hitler. He later was awarded the position of chairman of the military committee of the North America Treaty. When Putin talks about liberating Ukraine from the Nazis that have infiltrated Ukraine's government and army is not an excuse to invade Ukraine. If there is one Nazi as a chairman of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, I'm sure there are many others. My cyber family, we have reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to help someone in your community, as you may be the only one who does. Ciao ciao for now.